Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. This is the Coaching Corner, and we're kicking off 2025 with our session. Now, if you have been hanging with us before, you have gone through a series of sessions where we talked about getting out of your comfort zone. And with the new year, we want to transition into what I believe will be an umbrella content area for me on this channel, particularly for content creators, for streamers, for live show hosts, podcast hosts. I want to give you the gift of the art of storytelling. The art of storytelling. Yeah. Storytelling is the art of sharing a narrative with an audience through language, movement, or vocalization. Let me repeat it again. Storytelling is the art of sharing a narrative with an audience through the language of, through language, I should say, movement, or vocalization. The inflections of your voice, the things that you leave and reserve for different parts of the story. It's an experience. Storytelling can be done in many mediums, including spoken word, written text, film, music, dance, but I would add to that list content. And even if your content is reserved for and focused on how to, answering a question, instruction, or even entertainment, all of them are bettered by being a good storyteller. Storytelling is a social and cultural activity that can be used for entertainment, education, cultural preservation, or to instill moral values. It can help people find common ground, empathy, and understanding. One of the things that I'm constantly sharing with coaching clients to do is to own your story, is to mine the gold in your story, because those who are most familiar with their story and the art of telling a story can infuse pieces of that in their content in many different ways. And in today's session, I'm going to share with you a story in its most basic form, and then I'm going to share the story again, letting you see the difference of the dynamics that I will put in place to be able to create that intrigue, the suspense, and draw from it conclusions, all right? Things that you as the listener, or those who, whether I'm live, whether I'm speaking to a camera, live to tape, whether I'm recording a video, or I'm sitting in a room with friends at a coffee shop, at church, in a business meeting, being able to tell the right story at the right time can be the difference between somebody understanding your point and accepting your point, agreeing with your point, becoming one of your biggest fans, and it can make or break your entire intent. Sometimes a message will completely fall flat because you couldn't find the right story. And this is the reason why being able to be familiar with your own story is super critical to being able to find the right story to share at the right time. We just want to repeat that as we get ready to dive in today. Storytelling is the art of sharing a narrative with an audience through language, movement, or vocalization. It can be done in many different mediums. Storytelling is a social and cultural activity that can be used for entertainment, can be used for education, it can be used for cultural preservation. And right here at the beginning of the year, we want to share how you can use storytelling to instill moral values and lessons. How you can use storytelling to find a common ground to build empathy and understanding. Let's dive in. Well, it is so good to be here with you. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us today. I see that there are 7 people on the live already, and there are 4 likes. And I want to say a word of thanks to each and every one of you. Anthony T. Ladson is on the live. I'm going to grab some of your comments in just a second. I see you, Shira. I see you, Florence. K-Walk Comedy is present and accounted for. Listen, this is the Coaching Corner. We want to get your questions answered. If you have questions around content creation, around content strategy, around live streaming, how to be a good host, the art of asking the best question to elicit responses from your guests that they never intended to share. If you want to know how to do those things and leverage those powers to be able to set yourself up as an authority figure in a particular space, to funnel clients to your business, to grow and engage an audience, this is the place for you. You are at the right place. The Coaching Corner is going to be a place where we can lock in on those things. Coaching Corner is also a place where your questions can be answered for all of the different content creator platforms. So a lot of these platforms have been billed as live streaming platforms: EVMux, StreamYard, Ecamm, Restream. The list goes on. I do a lot of Canva tutorials as well. But the truth is, regardless of whether you're streaming to a live audience like I'm doing right now with the 12 of you on the live, or if you're streaming or you're recording for it to be edited and posted later, or if you're using it to create a podcast, these platforms are creator-centric platforms. And I want to make sure that you know how to utilize them from both the technical and then some hacks, tips, tricks, best practices. That's what this space is all about. My good friend Florence Donald is on the live, and she says, if your questions look like this, Kirk will see them. So go ahead and put a Q: in the chat, and that's going to enable you to have your questions answered. And if you have questions, don't hesitate, don't delay. Go ahead and drop them in there. We're talking about storytelling today, but I want to make sure that you guys get a chance to get your questions answered. The Coaching Corner is a space where we get a chance to pull aside in the middle of the middle. It just kind of happens to coincide with the first of the year this month. But today is Wednesday, and every Wednesday at noon, right? That's why I call it the middle of the middle of the week, in the middle of the day. It's noon here in the Central Time Zone. I call it the Lord's Time Zone. But in the middle of the middle, we want to pull aside for an hour, talk about what our pain points are, what is frustrating us, what is blocking us from making progress towards our goals, making progress towards what we intend to achieve, how we can stay in purpose, on purpose. Those are some of the things that we wanted to highlight for you today. If you didn't get a chance to check out the morning motivation from today, it was a great one. I'm actually trying to go back to see if I can grab that quote for you. It is a quote from, let me see if I can get this here. Yes, from Joshua Becker. And it says, the first step in crafting the life that you want is to get rid of everything you don't. And there is a 9-minute video. And if you missed it, you missed it. If you missed it, you really missed it. And on the first of the year, why would you miss out on your morning motivation? Because that quote is a question that each of us is going to have to answer. That quote is an indictment for some, but it is a motivator for others. The first step in crafting the life you want is to get rid of everything you don't. So I want to make sure you guys get a chance to really sink your teeth in on that. This is 2025, y'all. Let's not take old habits into the new year. Let's not take anything that did not serve us well in 2024 into the new year. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is by doing an assessment, is by being able to reflect. I wonder if there's a masterclass or something that has to do with reflecting forward. That was the name of our masterclass last month. And we have yet another masterclass this month. I'm super excited to be able to share it with you. It's called the Live Selling Masterclass. And our guest presenter is going to be Billy Thorpe. from Deal Billy. This is a good friend of mine, somebody who was one of the presenters at eCamp's Creator Camp this past October, and really opened my eyes to some of the opportunities I was missing on Amazon, and have since really changed my strategy on that platform and have really seen some major strides in what I'm doing there. So this is going to be on Friday, January 3rd at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. That's 11:30 for my folks in the East. That is 8:30, nice and early, right there in the morning for my folks in the West. And of course, you have a 24-hour replay if you are not a member. If you are a member, however, you get to watch it anytime you want for the remainder of the time it is live, because you have lifetime access to the replay if you're a member. One of the things that is a tangent point between the two, right? The tangent point to reflecting forward, live selling. One of the tangent points between the two is storytelling. Being able to know what your story is how you are able to reflect forward. I know what my story is. I know what my pitfalls have been. I know where my idiosyncrasies are, my quibbles, my quirks, my superpowers. If I know my story, I'm able to reflect on what has been so that I can utilize that information to be successful in the future. But storytelling is also the cheat code for live selling. I'm not going to say any more on that. I'm going to stick with storytelling because that's what's going to be the focus of our time today. And it's going to be the focus of our coaching corner for the next couple of weeks, if not couple of months. Storytelling is a skill set and a muscle that each of us as creators, whether you're a live show host, podcast host, content creator, whatever it is, you want to be able to incorporate storytelling. And storytelling, I've learned, is a cheat code for being able to sell live. In fact, storytelling changes live selling to live solving. Let that sink in, and make sure you come on Friday for the masterclass with Deal Billy. It's going to be a lot of fun. Listen, buckle your seatbelts. Billy and I are crazy, so we're going to have a good time. I'm excited about it. Let me get to some of your comments, because, comments is kind of my thing here. That's a comment from the last time we were live, so don't worry about it. Anthony T. Ladson says, hey, my friend here and waiting. I'm glad you were here. Listen, you were here first. Shira says, Happy New Year, Kirk and everyone. Happy New Year to you. If you missed it, if you didn't catch the social post or community post on my channel, we are not only celebrating 10,000 subscribers, we're also celebrating 500,000 views on the platform. Just hit that milestone on December 31st, and that was literally yesterday. So we're super excited about that, and I want to say a word of thanks to each and every one of you. Florence Donald is one of my moderators, just making sure that you know exactly how to get your questions answered. Put a Q colon in front of that bad boy. It's the new year. I'm certain you have questions. Happy New Year to you as well, Florence. K-Walk Comedy, Happy New Year to you as well. Sora James says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Greetings from Sweden. Hey, Sora James, greetings from Sweden. How do we say hello in Swedish? I hope that's the right term for the language there. I would love to be able to learn that today. Hey, N.A. Nea, thank you so much for being with us today. I see several of you are greeting one another in the chat. It's always good when we can greet one another in the chat. On their next podcast says, salute to the God and the squad. Cheers to a new year of opportunity. And I saw your comment on today's morning motivation. You were one that decided, I'm going to get my dose of motivation as we start off the new year. And we're super excited about that. Hold up. Sorry about that, fam. It's always interesting when the camera decides to do some new and unique things. We hope that it's going to get itself together here. It's just telling me that, listen, I've served you for a number of years now. It's time for you to replace me. That's all my camera is saying, and that's okay. We're going to get it replaced. But yes, definitely excited that On Their Next Podcast got a chance to check out Morning Motivation today. I saw y'all doing Reflecting Forward today. Another strong start to the year. Hey, listen, Pierre Quinn is not playing games with the content. So super excited for that content that's over there. Sabo Kwangpa's on the live. She says, what up, what up, what up? Thank you so much for being with us today. Happy New Year to you as well, sis. Truly appreciate you coming through. Truly appreciate you coming through. Yes, we are celebrating. Thank you so much. Greetings, my peoples, live in 2025. That actually rhymes, Doc Bashara. Thank you so much for your comment, and thank you for being with us today. I see several of you are here. I don't see any questions, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not mad at it. I'm excited that we are able to share some things. Let me go and I want to grab something. I want to show you something real quick. I think it's going to be meaningful to you. Let's go back to the full screen and let's download this. Boom, it's downloaded. And let's bring it on screen here. I hope it doesn't. There it is. There it is. There it is. We're celebrating 500,000 views on YouTube. Isn't that dope? Come on, y'all. Come on. We're I'm super excited about this. And again, one of the principles and practices that I have learned on my journey has been how to tell a story. Stories. I see your question. In fact, let's take that question right now. How to tell a story. On your next podcast is asking Kirk, what is your EVMux trial link? Dropping StreamYard today like a bad habit. Oh, man. Hey, listen, we're definitely going to drop that in the... Listen, the moderators beat me to it. So yes, that is my link, kirkarnugent.live/evmux. That's going to get you a free trial. But if you have any questions about making that transition from StreamYard to EVMux, I have at least one video that kind of walks through some of those pieces, and we're putting out more content covering EVMux here pretty soon. So definitely excited for you as you make that plunge. A lot of people's subscription for StreamYard is coming up for renewal. I know mine is coming up in August, and when that happens, I will definitely be leaving the platform. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Willie R3 says, I'm new here. Glad to catch you live, brother. Watched a video from 10 months ago on how to craft your podcast. I struggled with this, or did last year. So what are you doing now, Willie R3? Talk to me. Thank you so much for being with us today, by the way. And I'm always excited when we have people who have watched content come through and hang out with us live. I know that we're going to have a eclectic bunch with us today because it is the first of the year. So a lot of people are kind of out and about. They're not in their normal rhythm. Many of us have some time off, some free time. But we go live every Wednesday at this time. So we'd love for you to be able to come and hang out with us. Linda Monegro is here with us. Thank you so much for being with us. She says, God bless you, Kirk, and everyone in the chat. God bless you as well, Linda. Thank you for being with us today, and Happy New Year to you. I'm going to keep looking for some of your comments, even as we go through some of these principles and practices for storytelling. Listen, storytelling, as I mentioned, is a social and cultural activity that can be used for entertainment, education, cultural preservation, or to instill moral values. It can help to find common ground, empathy, and understanding. I want to give you some tips for effective storytelling. And this may be a time, I'm not going to put any slides on the screen or anything like that. This may be a time during the coaching corner where you got to bring a pen and paper and get these notes. Number one tip of effective storytelling is knowing your audience. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Knowing your audience. Consider how long the story should be and what language to use. When you know your audience, you can know how long you can talk and how long you know your audience. You know you have a sweet spot where if I talk a little over this, I'm gonna lose them. But also, you know your audience, you know what language to use. Yeah, you know what language to use. So that's tip number one, know your audience. I got a couple more tips. I'm gonna come back to them in just a second, but we have a question here from Lloyd Christian, and I wanted to address it real quick. What's your cost to help me set up a good streaming idea for my studio, or a streaming studio? Do you help me to clarify that just a little bit, Lloyd? When you say, what's the cost to help me set up a good streaming studio or a good streaming idea for my studio? Maybe I'm not I'm reading it. I'm being over technical. Maybe I'm over analyzing it this morning. It's the first of the year, but I want to make sure I understand the question well. And maybe it doesn't matter, because I do want to get a discovery call with you. I think that's always going to be the best way, is to be able to jump on a discovery call. So I'm going to actually put kirkrnugent.live/book me is the link. I'm pretty sure my moderators are going to beat me to it. What up, Pat Graham? What up, Doc? It's good to have you. It's always good to have you. Lloyd Christensen says streaming setup. Okay, so a good streaming setup. Oh, then I think it's, so maybe we don't need to go that route, but here we go. kirkrnugent.live/book me. kirkrnugent.live/book me. If you go to that page, on that page, you're going to see a studio consult session. It's a 1-hour session. We do it on Zoom, and it's $250. Grab that session. So to answer your question, it's going to be $250 for an hour. And we'll walk through. I actually just did one on Monday with a great friend of mine who lives in Baltimore, Maryland. And I'm sending her a list of equipment for her to be able to purchase because of what we talked about. I gave her some ideas on how to flip the studio, how to get two spaces in the studio so that she has something clean, and being able to do, let me go back to my main shot here. If you notice behind me, there's actually 3 different, so you have this set that I'm sitting in right now, and then there's a desk over here which has that as the background, which is a couch. So there's that set, and there's lighting for that, and then there is the couch, and we just cleared off the wall over the break. Then we're going to put something different on there. That's going to be a set for the Incubator's Couch, which is a live show that I do with my wife. So in this one studio, we have 3 different sets, and I can always turn around and shoot from the other direction. So let me just, it's the first of the year. You asked the question, so I'm definitely going to answer it, and we're going to play around with some stuff. Let me see if I can find my phone. Let's get iPhone. Is that going to work? Okay, let's do this way. Cameras include in switcher mobile virus. That's my phone, y'all. And so now I'm going to switch to it. It's not working, but anyway, so this is my setup. This is what I see. All right. That's what I see right there. This is my desk. I've got the Godox light above. I got a top down shot. I've got the Rodecaster Pro. I have 2 monitors. I have the Elgato prompter in the middle, and that's what I look at. That's where my notes are. You can see some of my notes for live storytelling. So Lloyd Christian, I hope you're still with us and you're able to see some of this. Then over here is the other setup. So this is my laptop. I have another teleprompter setup over here, some lights that are facing the ceiling, so I'm bouncing the light here. Got some soundproofing on the wall. But the reason why I wanted to show you this view is because it's still a great way for me to do a video. So I have this set in the background, and I can shoot from over here, right? So I instead of having this in the background, which is what you see from me all the time, I can have my actual desk in the background. So in this one studio, in this one setup, I have 4 different sets that I can pick from to be able to broadcast and do my content. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm coming back to my screen now. Let's get off of this. Let's turn off that. He says, I'm here. Thanks. Good. Let's turn off that switcher, turn off that camera, I should say. And that should do it. There we go. Perfect. So perfect. I love the question. And listen, this is what happens when you ask a question, you get an answer. And one of the things that I like to do whenever I do studio setup is I like to really hear from someone what's the type of vibe that they're going for. And that's why when I heard your question earlier, Lloyd, I was like, it sounds like you're already in lockstep with the way that I like to do my consults. Come on, Richard Ote, bring it. Happy New Year to you as well. But it sounded like you were in lockstep with how I like to do my consults, because understanding the idea around what it is, what's the experience you want to have for your audience, that's going to be critical. That's going to determine whether what you put on screen is going to determine what you have in the shot, the type of shot that you have. Do you want it to be a mid shot, cowboy shot, full shot? I've got a client who does a whiteboard session where he's standing, he has a lapel mic on his face, and he's going to the whiteboard and he's drawing stuff. It's going to depend heavily on what you want the experience to be for your viewer, what you want the experience to be for that live show or for that content. That's going to really dictate, and maybe this is enough, and maybe you don't need to book a session, and that's okay too. I hope that you do book one. We definitely want to do more of these types of consults in the future, but maybe that's what will dictate, or I shouldn't say maybe, that's what will dictate what you want in your studio. And do you know what that brings me back to? It's such a great segue. It brings me back to storytelling. Even your space that you're in, what's good, fam, is going to be largely dependent on the stories you want to tell. So for me, I will want stuff in the room that gives people a window into who Kirk is, a window into what I do and what my life is like. There are people who, I mean this quite seriously. There are people who, without unmuting my live show, right? Without unmuting it, they will book a consult session. So I'm going to take the scenes off. I'm going to take the overlay off. They just see me like this and they're like, let me go and book a consult session with him. Why? Because this studio is designed to do exactly that. This shot that I have right now is designed for somebody to come in and say, dang, that's what I need. You want to tell a story even with the way you've set up your studio. Knowing your audience is the first tip that we shared. But then the next tip that I want to share with you is make them care. Make them care. Storytelling, the art of storytelling. Here are a few tips for effective storytelling. The first one, know your audience. Consider what language to use, what their threshold is in terms of the length of your content. Know your audience. Knowing your audience is going to dictate a number of different things. What is the type of experience you want for the content? Does it need to be fast-paced? Does it need to be a lot more serious and pensive and thoughtful? Know your audience. Knowing your audience will help you to craft an experience, but then you want to make them care. In the story, you have to build in points of significance that allows your audience to engage and care. You want them to engage and care. You want them to engage and care. Let me get a couple more comments while we're doing this. Let me get a couple more comments. I hope that you got that. KirkRNugent.live/book me. That's going to get you to where you want to be. Lord Prescription says thanks. Willie R3 says dope. Willie R3, I'm still waiting to hear from you in terms of what are some of the things that you're doing now. It sounds like you were a little stuck in terms of getting your podcast set up, but it also sounds like you kind of got over that hurdle, and maybe one of my videos helped, maybe it didn't. But I want to hear kind of an update from you, Willie R3, in terms of what's going on now. How is that podcast going? What are you going to be doing in the new year? I would love to hear some of those pieces. And then Lloyd Christensen, I know you asked about the studio. What kind of content do you create? I see that your channel says 24. I didn't get a chance to click on it to see what exactly your channel is all about, but I'd love for you to be able to share a little bit. This is the Coaching Corner. We talk about content strategy. We talk about content creation, content entrepreneurship, right? Content as a business. We talk about all those things here, and what are some of the things that we can do to really move the needle, especially as we look to a new year here in 2025. So definitely want to hear a little bit more from you. OTN podcast says, I've definitely binged on your EV Mux videos to the tune of 12 hours, making my decision to switch simple. Come on. If you need anything, OTN, as you switch over to EV Mux, you let me know, and we will try to make sure we get some of that content out here for you. Richard Ote is here. I've not seen you on the live before, but maybe I just haven't seen you in a while. I don't know, but I just want to say thank you so much for being here, and you're bringing it as well, Doc. I mean, anybody that comes out of the shadows to type a comment in, I am always appreciative. My guy Miggs is on the live. I just had a session with him this past week, and we had a great time discussing some of the things that might be possible. In fact, I owe you an email, Miggs. I owe you a follow-up email so that we can figure out what those next steps are going to be for your content. And I think it's such a creative and unique way that you're going to be utilizing content in 2025. So I'm excited for that. Dwayne Wood, one of my longtime guys, is on the live. He's got that yellow dot. That signifies that he's a member on YouTube, y'all. He's a member. He is supporting this content in a systematic way by sowing a seed of $9 every month to YouTube, and that makes its way into our pockets here, and that enables us to be consistent with our content. So if that's something you're interested in, please do. Willie says, I commented up top. Oh, that's my bad. I didn't realize I missed it. Come on. Looks like I missed one or two. I see another one from Doc Bashara, so I'm gonna have to grab that one in just a second, Doc Bashara. Okay, so Willie R3, thank you so much. This is what happens. You get carried away doing certain things. We're still gonna share with you best practices and tips around storytelling, but definitely want to engage our audience today. Your questions are the agenda. So Willie R3 says, I do morning lives, reading scripture, pour value into viewers, and pray. I have so many lives, I don't know how to really repurpose them, which live to use for the week's episode. So I would not do it that way. Man, let's chop it up a little bit, Willie. So I have a morning motivation live show that I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. In 2024, I did them public. In 2025, I'm going to do them private. I'm going to do them just for members, but I will make the repurposed and edited video that was produced from those live shows available every Wednesday. So if you caught today's morning motivation that was produced and edited and published today at 6:30 a.m., that is the product of those live shows. So one of the things I would recommend is setting up because your produced video it's not going to be, you don't want it to be as long as the live video, and your produced video, you don't want it to be filled with you responding to comments and doing things like that. You want to be able to deliver direct value. So if let's say you do a live and you're focus on a particular scripture and a particular prayer, let that be the video, the scripture and the prayer, and let that be the video. And you clip out that part, but you have to structure the live in a way that allows you to just focus in on that piece in the live stream. So now after you've shared the scripture and the insights and the value, and then you shared your prayer, then you basically close that section and then you begin to engage with the audience, the live audience. So you want to structure your live show in a way that allows for that repurposed piece to be specific. A lot of times we look at repurposing as something that's random, like, well, what clips can I pull? What piece can I take to make this into something else? I look at it as being segments of my live show. So I have a client where we structured his live show. He's a business guy. He doesn't have a lot of time. So we batch record live to drive. We have his guests already scheduled and ready to go. I work with his team at his office. And so I think once a month we have a 5-hour block carved out of his schedule. It's once a month. It's all he can afford. But out of that once a month content, we're able to do 3 episodes, 3-hour long episodes that we're able to record. And from those episodes, we get a 3 to 5 minute video, because he's always going to have a segment of the show where he's just delivering value for himself. We get a podcast, both audio, video, because that's the part that he's interviewing the guest. And then we get shorts and reels because at the end he does Q&A, and that Q&A is canned. We put out the questions on social media. We put out the feeler for questions on social media, and as those questions comes in, he responds to those questions as we put them up on screen. And every question is a short or a reel. And so if he does 5 questions, we get 5 shorts and reels. He interviews his podcast, his guest. That's a 15 to 20 minute podcast. He has that first piece of his show where he's actually just showcasing or sharing his thought for the day. Maybe that's the value. In his case, he's not going to read a scripture and do a prayer, but he's sharing this one piece of value, something that's pressing, something that's really weighing heavy on his mind. He shares that in about 3 to 5 minutes. We take that piece, we edit that up. Now the whole show is made available on a regular basis. We can them and then we release them on a regular interval, but those other pieces are all made available in their own different disciplines and platforms. So hopefully that makes sense. Structuring your live show so that you have these segments, and one of those segments would be something that you could repurpose for a shorter form of content, 3 to 5 minutes, or you can repurpose it as a longer piece of content, maybe as a podcast, maybe a solo podcast, but it has to be a complete thought, and it has to be specific to the particular audience you're talking to. So during the podcast segment, he actually says, welcome to the podcast. During the podcast segment, he actually says, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, regardless of how you're consuming this content right now, we're excited to have you. Those are the things that make repurposing much more effective, because you're thinking about repurposing at the inception, right, of the content. Like, as I'm thinking about creating this content, I'm also thinking about how it will be repurposed. And that's the best kind of repurposing that's out there. Hopefully I've answered the question. I know I've taken longer than I intended, but I love this question. And these are some of the things that we absolutely need for the Coaching Corner. This is what I live for. All right, I got another question from Doc Bishara. It's a quick question, but it's one that I can easily an answer, because unfortunately the answer is no. So on the screen you can see he says, can I use EVMux with Zoom? And the answer is no. EVMux is a web-based streaming platform. It doesn't have, what's the term I'm looking for? It doesn't have a virtual camera. So there's no way to take it and go into Zoom. And it also, because it's a web-based streaming platform, it's integrating it with Zoom, it would be an issue. It would be a problem. So definitely think through that as well. What would you want to use Zoom for? And if you want to use Zoom, then unfortunately, there's just a handful of programs that you can work with. One being vMix, another being EVMux. You could probably use OBS. OBS has a virtual camera, and OBS is free. So maybe there's something to be said for that, Doc Bishara. But thank you so much for the question. I appreciate those. Let me see what we got here. My guy, Pat Graham, is on the live. Thank you so much for being with us today. Florence is just always on it, always on it. It cannot be overstated. My moderators are some of the best in the business. Let's see, let's go. Doc Wood is on the live. Always good to have Doc Wood on here. Super excited to have you here, and Happy New Year to you, brother. I know you were under the weather last week, not feeling too well, but I hope that you kind of recovered, you bounced back. And I love what you're doing with your content on your channel. It's always inspiring to see people really pushing in their spaces. Going for it is what Richard said. You are going for it, and we're excited about that today. Linda Monegra says, I'm taking notes. Come on. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to kind of couch everything together after I kind of get through some of these things. London Pen Company is on the live. Thank you so much for being with us. Howdy to you as well. Miggs has a question. And I'm going to star your question. I'm going to come back to it in just a second. Let's kick the year off with clicking the like button on this awesome content. Thank you so much. Going forward, I'm going to make the live streams available 48 hours and then push to members only and release the value portion without the prayer, what you said, produced version through Ecamm. Come on. And one of the things, if you're using Ecamm, Willie, then you can actually do this you can actually record both. And that's what I absolutely love. What I do for the for morning motivation is I will, let's go to live demo mode. So I will go into the settings and go into recording, and then just select to record my camera for the segment of the show that I know I'm going to repurpose. And then when I'm done with that portion of the show, I will unselect that camera. And what that does is it gives me a standalone recording. So I have a video on that process, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to find that. If not, let me know. Just comment on underneath any video. Say, hey, I'm looking for that video on how to do that with Ecamm, and I'll make sure to find the video and respond back to you. Any video, just pick any video and comment underneath it. This is one of the primary ways that I use to be able to connect with people. My wife is on the live, y'all. She says, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, babe. It's always good to have you with us. Let's get those likes up. I see it. Oh, Hugh Davis is on the live. What's going on, sir? Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Richard Ote says 500,000 views. That is amazing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm super excited about that. And you know, it's crazy because it's back-to-back achievements that we had. So December 21st, we hit, what's the term I'm looking for? We hit 10,000 subscribers on the channel. Let's go back to here, and I'm going to bring this up. So for those that didn't see earlier, this is what Richard is referring to, but I want to make sure that everybody knows we also hit 10,000 subscribers on the channel as well. Come on. Don't play with me. So there you have it. There's 10,000 subscribers. We hit that on December 21st, and then we hit 500,000 views on the 31st. So just 10 days later, we hit that. So I did a live to celebrate the 10,000 subscribers, but I didn't do a live to celebrate 500,000. I just literally logged in and saw that this morning. So I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely going to mention it during the coaching corner, because I feel like this is motivating to everybody that's out there. So I want to say a word of thanks to you, Richard, for sharing that piece. Always good to be able to celebrate together. Note taking in the coaching corner has helped me improve my live session segments. Come on, Linda Monegro. Thank you so much. This is so good. This is so good. Remember when you did a short promo commercial while live? That was epic. Listen, I have planned to do more of those in 2025 as well. And yeah, being able to show people what's possible. And Linda Monegro is talking about something that we did in the coaching corner, and I utilized the same feature that I was talking about, Willie R3. So excited for what you're gonna have and what you're gonna experience with that as well. So yeah, man, listen, this is always good. Let me see what else we got here. I know I have a question from Migs that I want to get back to. Willie R3 says 1000%, says thank you. Rebecca Touched by Yarn is here. Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Geraldine is on the live. You know, this is one of the things I talk about with storytelling in terms of knowing your audience. When you see names come in, Living Water Quilter is her channel name, but I know that her name is Geraldine. One of the things that you can do in terms of storytelling, in terms of knowing your audience, in terms of creating content that is engaging and allows people to feel like I care, and they should care, right? Those are some of the best practices that we've been talking about in storytelling. It's being able to say somebody's name. And so I always love to be able to shout out Geraldine when she comes through. Dope content creator as well, killing it in her space. And I saw that you liked the video, the promo where we were talking about the live selling masterclass. So let me just throw that back up again as well, in case you did not know. We got a couple more people watching now. Live selling masterclass is going to be coming this Friday at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. That's the Lord's time zone. Eastern Time, that'll be 11:30. And then out west, it'll be nice and early, 8:30 in the morning on Friday. So definitely want to make sure you guys get a chance to come and hang out with us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Oh my word. Florence found the video. Check out this video to record while live streaming. Man, listen, these moderators are absolutely phenomenal. So Willie R3, that video is the one that I was talking about. So I don't even have to We don't have to go through the back and forth. She already found it and put it up there. She is one of the best moderators in the game, so can't thank her enough. I really enjoy coming in when I do. So much info to learn. Your stream always has so much to offer. Thank you so much for your hard work, you do for the people. Linda, I just want to put my hands like this. I want to say thank you. I'm not even going to gloss over it. Sometimes you try to shirk and duck and dive some of these compliments, but no, as I've been doing some reflecting, as I've been receiving messages from people, somebody stopped me the other day. I'm not even going to say where. And he was just like, I really appreciate the work that you do. Now he went on to say, some version of, I can't believe you don't have more subscribers or something like that. I'm happy with the growth that I'm having. I don't, I want to be able to serve people in a personal way. So I just recognize that if I had like 500,000 subscribers, it would become difficult to do that. So 10,000 still blows my mind. And I'm just like, well, okay, God, this is what you have placed in front of me, and I'm going to steward it well. I'm going to serve them well. And I'm excited about that. So I received this, Linda. I received this. I thank you so much for sharing that. I thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. If I stay there, I'm gonna get derailed, but I can't thank you enough, Linda, for that comment. I just have 70K views on my channel. Love using Ecamm. S Griffs 36. Tell me your name, S Griffs. I want to make sure that I'm able to say your name as well. But we celebrate you today. I don't know if I have any triggers. Where's my trigger here? Come on. We celebrate you today. We celebrate you today. And we are excited by your achievement. Whoa, Tracy is here with us. Happy New Year to you as well. You are never late. You're always on time. We're excited that you're here with us today. Mig says, dope. Didn't know that was possible, so I'll be watching that video soon. Yes, you can record a video while live, and I'm telling you, it is an ultimate cheat code. And if you're thinking about repurposing, that is the way. What are your favorite panel lights? Feel free to put affiliate link. Panel lights, so LED, like you're talking about LED panel lights. I really enjoy the Dasney ones. So let me do something here real quick. Slash gear. Yeah, if you go to kirkarnugent.live/gear, there's some, let me go. I'm certain one of my my moderators is going to beat me to this, but this is the link, Richard. And when you go there, when you go there, let's just go there. All right, let's go there. Let's not make you guess at it. Here we go. So when you go there, you'll go to this page, and on this page, you have a number of idea lists right at the top. So this one in particular, the mobile control desk, that's the one I want you to click on. I have a ton of content on here. And yes, all of these links are affiliate. But when you go here, you click on this idea list. One of the things in the idea list are some panel lights. These are the GVM panel lights. These are my favorites right now because they do both bicolor, right? So you have the different temperatures from 3000 to 5500 Kelvin, but then you also have RGB. And they have all their lighting modes on there as well. There's an app. GVM has an app for your phone that you can control the lights with. So I really like these right now. I've got two of them over here on this other desk behind me. I'm really liking the GVM panel lights, and I think it's a great deal. Oh no, they're currently unavailable. What's going on there? Why are they currently unavailable? Well, and as long as you, there's another one right here. These look like the exact same ones. Maybe I just need to go ahead and change those out. But yeah, these are our LED, GVM LED. It's a 2-pack. It comes, this is exactly what I have. So anyway, you'll be able to find your way around there and get some as well. They come with the stands, but I do prefer putting them on these mounts right here. So again, that's why I like to share with people like the idea list, because it kind of gives people a broader picture of some of the things that I use with some of the equipment that I'm currently putting out. And then there's a video that goes along with this whole mobile control desk situation that we're showcasing right now. But thank you for the question or the comment, Richard. And I'm excited that you're gonna be able to check that out. What is going on? Hey, Sharon, name is Sharon. Kirk, I do sports-based channel and love your channel and all the help you provide in your videos. Oh man, I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited about that. Sorry, I said Sharon and your name is Shannon. I read that entirely wrong. So Shannon, thank you so much for coming through and hanging out with us today. Okay. Hey fam, questions are great. Kirk loves getting these. Please try to start with a Q colon to help us out. Yes, Q colon does help me because that way I can actually star them and put them aside so I can go back to them. Let me see if I can get through some of these. And London Pen Company says, yes, I just filmed my first 3 interviews using Ecamm. What a pleasure. Oh, that's so dope. I'm excited for you on that. Shannon, I'm going to say your name like 50 more times. I want to, marry the two up. S-Griff36 with Shannon. S is for Shannon. S-Griff36, Shannon. S-Griff36, Shannon. Okay, Shannon, thank you so much for being with us today as well. Gary Jones is on the live, says Happy New Year. Several of you are congratulating Shannon, and we're excited about that. Yes, I wore the hat last night. Because we were outside for Happy New Year. So yes, I wore the hat, and I've got to take a selfie and make sure to share that with you as well. Old model that likely expired. Need to update your items. Yes. I will update them. Yes, I will update them. GVM is solid unless you need an app. My only issue is the diffusion isn't ideal, which can be remedied with a panel softbox or a shower curtain if you're on a budget. Now, diffusion is a big issue for LED panel lights, but that's the issue. You just have to keep that in mind when you're dealing with panel lights. If you're dealing with panel lights, diffusion is an issue. And if you saw, I don't think you can see it now, but the lights that I have are pointed up because I'm bouncing them off of the ceiling, which is white. So I'm able to get a softer light coming back down on the subject because panel lights they can be a bit harsh. So you are absolutely correct, Migs. Now, I do have a question from, I think it is Migs. He says, you mentioned getting the buy-in from your audience. Can you mention some examples? Migs. Talk about bringing it back to center. Thank you so much for doing that. Now, so getting buy-in from your audience is critical. Let me frame this up real quick, and you guys can continue to put your questions and comments in, but I want to really give this idea right here. And maybe even let me put a marker so that I can, boom, there's a marker added. I will know that this is the point in the show where I talked, gave the full thought around storytelling. Storytelling, as I mentioned before, is a social and cultural activity that can be used for entertainment, education, cultural preservation, or to instill moral values. It can help people find common ground, empathy, and understanding. And so I wanted to share with you some tips for effective storytelling. And the first one is to know your audience. And one of the questions that we received is asking how to get buy-in from your audience, right? Knowing your audience allows you to understand some of their pain points, understand where they're coming from, understand, what does their day look like? Here's the truth. A lot of times as a content creator, as you're putting content out there to be consumed, you need to be a little more aware of the underlying issue than even the person that's watching. You need to be more aware of their real value proposition than the surface value proposition. The thing that is the shiny thing that causes people to come in, that the dangling of the carrot, whatever it is, how you get them to the top of the funnel, that is the surface level thing. But what is that deeper thing? Because knowing that deeper thing allows you to infuse it in your content and allows them to have buy-in. Now, that's one way. Knowing your audience allows your audience allows you to do things in your content that signals to your audience, you're with me. You're with me. One of the things I like to do is ask, have you ever questions? Have you ever been streaming and wanted to do an overlay, but couldn't quite figure out how to get it to work on the fly? When I ask a have you ever question, and you will put it into whatever context works best for you, but when you ask have you ever questions, you're creating a moment of significance. Have you ever, tried to ask a girl out but couldn't muster up the courage? Now, have you ever questions require the person that's watching, require the person that's viewing, require the person you're talking to, because you could ask have you ever questions in a public speaking engagement or while you're sitting around a table with friends. When you ask have you ever questions, everyone must self-identify. And that self-identification requires them to say yes, no, or I'm curious. Yes, no, or I'm curious. Yes, I have tried to ask a girl out, but I couldn't necessarily muster the courage. If they say yes, you got them. Because you now go into all of the attributes and details that happen when you're in that moment. There are butterflies in your stomach, your palms are sweaty, and the person is just sitting there nodding their head like, yes, this guy knows, this girl knows, this person understands me, they get it. Like, have you ever struggled? You've put together all this time, effort, energy into creating and crafting a live show and no one shows up. Have you ever? And they're sitting there like, yes, I have. Oh my gosh. And you're looking at that number. That zero is looking back at you from whatever streaming platform that you're using. And that zero is taunting you. It's making fun of you. It's like poking you, right? It's your nemesis. That zero is laughing at you. That is a point of significance. That person is bought in. That person's like, yo, I'm not going anywhere. Because this guy, this girl, this person, this creator, they understand me. They get me. They know what I'm going through. Regardless of whether or not they have the answer, people don't just resonate with people who have the answers. They resonate with folks who have experienced life the way that they have experienced life. So the journey towards the answer is far more important than having the answer. Man, I had a coaching client once where we said, let's make your content about finding the answer. So she actually did not have the answer to this thing. She just said, basically, fam, listen, I'm so tired of struggling with X. And she began to list off all the attributes of the struggle with X. And as she's listing off the attributes, people are subscribing. People are paying attention. People are saying, yo, this is where I want to be. Not because she has the answer, because she could clearly articulate what the experience is or was around this struggle. And once she was able to say that, her CTA was subscribe if you want to take the journey with me towards figuring out what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is, but on this channel, we're going to try some stuff. We're going to throw some things against the wall. We're going to get it wrong. We're going to complain. We're going to do a postmortem. We're going to figure out what didn't work. We're going to try something again until we come up with the recipe. Do you want to take that journey with me? And several of you right now are saying to yourselves, absolutely, hell yeah, I'll take that journey. Sign me up. What channel are we talking about again? Because creating that point of significance, when you ask that have you ever question, and the person self-identifies by saying yes, you got them. Now, what happens when the person self-identifies by saying no? I've never asked that. Well, it's the next most important thing when they say no is what's next. Do they say no and I'm not interested? Then that's a good thing. That person has identified, I'm not interested in what you have to talk about. And let's be clear, as creators, as content creators, as streamers, you want people to get to that no quicker. I don't want to string people along. I don't want to be fake. I'm not trying to bait people into watching my content. I want you to know right at the outset, this is not for you. So if you self-identified, I've never wondered that, and I'm totally uninterested. Thank you so much for your time. You can go now, because this is what we're talking about. But if the person says no, wait for it, and they say now that you've asked the question, I'm interested. Now that you've framed it in that way, I've never thought of it that way, but now that you've said it, I cannot unsee it. I'm curious. That's a good person. You want to create points of significance. You want to create engagement with your audience. You need to ask, have you ever, questions that allow the audience member to self-identify. Put in the great thing about a have you ever question, whether it's live or whether it's produced, you can say comment below and just put a number 1 if you've ever wondered about X. If you're live and you see ones going up the chat, you know what you have right there? I'm speaking to the right audience. I'm speaking to the right audience. I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. These are my people. This is my tribe. This is one of the arts of storytelling, because you've got to be able to clearly articulate the issue and the need before anybody's willing to listen to your solution. If you even have a solution. Most people aren't even looking for a solution just yet. They're really more looking for somebody to just not identify, but to affirm what they have gone through, that your experience is valid. This is what I call the other need that people have that they will never explicitly state, is that I want to be validated in what I'm doing. I'm trying my best to be, I'm over my time already, but I feel like we're going to have to go a little longer today because it's the first of the year and I don't have any other appointments, quite honestly. And I see the numbers are growing. We got 20 people on the live and we got 20 likes. We even got a heart on Facebook, which is dope. But you want to ask that have you ever question, because the have you ever question forces your audience to engage. And when you make the content about them, they care. Tips for effective storytelling. You got to know your audience. And if you want the cheat code, if you want to skip to the end of the 6-month coaching series that I do, your audience is you. Just create your own profile. Look at yourself. Your audience is you. People will resonate with the profile that you have created for yourself. And you can't speak to any other profile better than your own. And there are many people that share that whole thing with you. I have OCD. I'm a third culture kid, immigrant. I lived overseas as a missionary. You need to be intimately aware of who you are, because when you're intimately aware of who you are, you know what your profile is. And when you know what your profile is, you know who your audience is. And you can speak their language fluently. The verbal and nonverbal. And you can ask them questions that you already know the answer to because you're speaking to you. And when they self-identify, they begin to care. And once they start caring, this is when you can set the scene. You set the scene now. You create the context for the story. Don't just share the story. Don't just share the story. You create the context for the story. Then you want to be creative. Consider using tension and a grand finale. You want to crescendo that thing. When my wife and I this past year got a chance to go to New Zealand. I was there for a speaking engagement, and we've lived internationally. And for those that are who need the bullet point, I'm sharing a story now. Okay, I'm gonna incorporate all of these tips, tricks, best practices I just talked about. And we go to New Zealand. We've lived internationally, but New Zealand is not a place that we've ever been before. And because we live internationally, we love to be able to see the differences between cultures, how they do what they do. Is anybody with me? Like, is anybody else curious? Have you ever been curious about how other people do what they do? So no, I'm not talking about big things. I'm talking about normal everyday things. How they drive on the road. Do they have more roundabouts than stoplights? Like, what do they call their gas stations? Is it a petrol? Is it gas? Is it a boot? Is it a bonnet? We're always interested about cultural norms, and this is why we absolutely love travel. In fact, one of our favorite shows is The Amazing Race, because of the travel and because of the rich cultural differences that are on display every single episode. And so we go to New Zealand, and while we're there, we are staying in this hotel, and the hotel has this rack on the wall, and we didn't quite understand what's this rack for. It's in the bathroom. There's a rack on the wall, and not quite understanding what is this rack for. Trying to figure this thing out. We're going back and forth to the meeting place where I'm speaking. We had a few days that we were on our own, and we'd kind of traveled around a little bit and saw some of the countryside. New Zealand is a gorgeous country. In fact, we even went to Hobbiton, which is the set of where they recorded Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's mind blowing. This is like once in a lifetime bucket list type of content stuff. Get back to the room every day, and of course, there's this rack. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Like, why in the world is this rack? Okay, so the rack is in the bathroom, and you know what we started to do? We started just putting our towels on the rack. And one day, my wife realized, like, yo, the rack actually has a switch, and when you turn the switch on, the rack heats up. I'm like, what? So I'm like, maybe it's a heat, maybe we're using the rack in the right way, but man, I've never thought about, being able to dry your towel quicker so that you can use it again sooner. Even better, the towel is warm. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, warm towel. Yo, I love New Zealand. Is this a thing? And we get to the meeting hall later, and we're asking the folks, and they're like, oh yeah, you guys don't have racks in your bathroom? You don't have the heating rack in your bathroom for your towels? I'm like, no, we don't have that. No, we don't have that. No, we don't have that. And so when we got back from the trip, as this happens all the time, we went to Brazil the year before, and there's something we saw in Brazil there, and when we got back from that trip, we ordered one, and it is now installed in our home. And when we got back from this trip, I knew my wife really loved that rack, and so her birthday was in November, this past November, and so my kids and I decided we're gonna buy that rack. Not only did we get to buy the rack, because we found one right on Amazon. We bought this heated towel rack, and I had one of my guys come in and install it and get it all plugged up. And so now our towels are warmed, dried, heated, and it is a great experience. Are you seeing the whole purpose and point of the story? The point of the story isn't so much that I want you to buy the towel rack, although somebody will hear this story and think to themselves, can you drop the link for the Amazon place where I can find this towel rack? Because this is what story does. Because you have to self-identify. Somewhere in that story, you said to yourself, I absolutely detest coming back to a wet towel. Wait a minute. Has somebody actually solved that problem? Are there parts of the world where they don't have this issue? Are you seeing it? And the way that you tell the story isn't so much that you're hitting people with the punchline right away. And I'll be clear, I abbreviated that story a lot because in the interest of time, I don't want to necessarily give you all the ebbs and flows, but there are points in the story where I'm using language that is familiar to you because I know you. There are points in the story where I'm making you care, like, man, Who doesn't want to understand the differences from one culture to another? Maybe there are people who don't, but if you are already locked in. Then I set the scene. Getting a chance to travel. I'm going to New Zealand. I'm going there to speak at an event, but we took some extra time. It's our anniversary. I didn't share that part. That's one of the reasons why my wife came. We got a chance to go to the set of Hobbiton where they filmed Lord of the Rings. The scenery in the country is gorgeous. Things are slightly different. They drive on a different side. There are roundabouts. I'm setting the scene. I'm creating the context for the story. Then I'm just being creative. I'm using tension. I'm trying to understand, why in the world do we have this rack in the bathroom? Are we using the wrong way? Did we stumble onto a find? Is this even a thing? Being creative, using tension, creating a crescendo, including different points of view, doing different inflections with my voice. It's all about creating an experience to tell a story. Now, everything that I'm sharing with you are principles and practices I learned in content creation, but I do them naturally because this is just the way my family tells stories. And I remember my content coach saying to me, Kirk, you have an unfair advantage because you naturally tell stories in the way that we teach. It takes me months to teach people to tell stories the way that you naturally tell the story. But I want to let you know that it is possible to learn. It is possible to master the art of storytelling. And no two people are going to tell a story the same way, because storytelling gives the storyteller creative license. So there isn't a wrong or a right, but you just want to be able to include just the right amount of tension, just the right amount of context, just the right amount of perspective. You want to ask the right questions so that your audience can engage, so that you can give them a full experience and lock them into whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. This is human nature 101. Before there was a camera, before there was video, pictures, before there was internet, before there was content, before modern civilization, right? The automobile and electricity, like before we even recognized that you could ride a horse, there was storytelling. Human beings have used storytelling since the dawn of time. And it is not a skill set, I believe, that is optional. I believe it's a skill set that we each desperately need to hone, to craft, to improve upon, because it will infuse every aspect of your life. Do you know when I learned the principles of storytelling? It wasn't necessarily for content creation. It was for me being a C-suite executive, being a chief information officer for a large higher ed institution, needing to translate the technical parameters and needs of the institution into the language of the C-suite. I needed to tell stories. Everyone needs to tell stories, but especially the content entrepreneur who's looking to grow and engage an audience. You want people to engage with you, who's looking to establish themselves as an authority figure in a space. You know that lady I talked about earlier who said she didn't have the answer? She has the answer now. Through trial and error, and the audience walk with her step by step, video by video, through her content. She now has the answer, and she's able to take people on a trip, on a journey of transformation. Why? Because her journey of transformation is out there on the internet for all to see. You want to grow and engage an audience. You want to establish yourself as a thought leader, as an authority figure in your particular niche or space. You want to funnel clients to your business. You want to master the art of storytelling. I see some of you in the comment section. Let me go back to my comments now. I'm done. Let me hit the marker one more time so I can make sure I can bookend that piece of storytelling and I can pull out that part. That's another piece. R3. What's the guy's name here? Let me see if I can find him. Willie R3. That's another piece of repurposing, is hitting that marker button so you know where those pieces of your video are. Let me see here. Let's get back to some of our questions. Okay, awesome. Thanks for the feedback, second advice, resource page. I'll definitely support by buying through your links. I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Richard Ote. Thank you so much for being with us today. Micah Fleming says, Happy New Year. I love our towel rack. LOL. I love our towel rack. Come on. Are you seeing what I'm saying, y'all? Like, this is just such a small example. And I hope that you come to the live selling masterclass, because this is just such a small example of that. But are you seeing what I'm saying? Look. Richard Orte says, I want that rack. Come on. Let me just find the link to the rack so that I can send it to you, so that I can show it to you. This is crazy, but this is quite literally the stuff that I teach. I mean, these are the stories that make it relevant, that make it that make life. You know, it's we're part of one another. Okay, so let's go to screen right now. So this is the top. This is the rack itself. This is it. I'm going to show it in a couple different scenarios here. It's not very big, but it's great. And we went ahead and had it installed. Let me here we go. Text. I'm going to put the affiliate link in the chat right now. What did I just do? There we go. I'm going to put the affiliate link in the chat right now. Let's go back to comments. Boom. That's it. So I just put that in the comment section. So for those that want the rack is there. And yes, if you buy it, it's an affiliate link. So I will get the sales from that. But this is such a great example for those that are watching. For maybe you didn't see earlier where we were talking about the live selling masterclass. One of the things that I love to shift the terms live selling to live solving. When I tell people what solved a problem for me, and then I point them to a particular product or service, that's live selling at its best, but it's really not live selling. I'm just sharing with you how I solved a problem and pointing you to the resource that solved it for me. And this is again why story is so critical. Okay. Dr. Shar says, I'm on Amazon right now. This is priceless. Y'all are making my day. Y'all are making my day right now. Yeah, I'm looking for this thing. Caribbean folks know how to tell a story and make sure they'll bring you through the mountains and valleys in the process. Yes, we do. Migs. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Through your storytelling principle breakdown, I just identified why I've gained or lost subscribers. Heavy, heavy game, man. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'm so excited with y'all. You have no idea today. A great real-time example, Willie R3 says. Absolutely. I'm excited about it. For those that are wanting that rack, that's the link right there. Oh, that's so good. Demolition News, Happy New Year to you, man. I'm wishing you all the blessings and prosperity for the new year as well. I know you're quickly checking in, and I know it's a different time zone for you across the pond there, but I just always excited whenever I see your name pop up in the chat. Thank you so much for being with us today. Always, always, always appreciated. I love that. I wish my bathroom was bigger. I have no room for this towel rack. Hey, it's not that big. I'll just tell you, it's not that big. You could even put it on a door. I mean, it's honestly really not that big if you look at the dimensions of it. But listen, if your bathroom's too small, it's too small. It is what it is. But I'm so glad that everybody's been able to kind of get a real feel example of why storytelling is so critical. Now, we used it today in the sense of how do we engage an audience? How do we ensure that the story itself lands? It does what you intended for it to do. One of the things that I want to just say a quick shout out to my guy Migs, because your question really was the alley-oop. I mean, this was the setup for for our time together today in terms of being able to share stories that really meet the mark and do what they are intended to do. Wow. Let me go back to the bottom here. I see Coach Ruby J is with us, and she says, I like that. Live solving. Patent pending, right? This is a phrase that many will tell you that I got this from Kirk, but it's okay. It's not new. I said it long ago, but it ain't about live selling. It's more about live solving. And I'm glad that you resonate with that as well. Coach Ruby J, I love coaches. So you're in the right place, Coach Ruby J. We got a big chrome towel rail instead of the radiator now. Serves two purposes. That's awesome because it serves to you to have that radiator that was heating up your room as well. And so now you can kind of put your towel on that and let that dry. So it's these are the things. I mean, a lot of time, I can't tell you how many times people are trying to figure out how do I create a point of significance? How do I get people to engage with me? People are real. They're real people that live real lives. Like they put their socks on one foot at a time. Like they have to use the bathroom. I don't care who they are. Number one and number two. Like they have to drink water. Like everybody's got to eat, brush their teeth. You know what I'm saying? Some of us need glasses, some of us don't. People are real. Like bad hair days are real. So my beanie is also real. You know how many of these beanies I've sold on Amazon? Because people see them, they're like, dude, this is so cool. One person messaged me, DM'd me, was like, are you Muslim? I was like, no, I just don't always have my hair cut. And the beanie allows me to have a nice clean look on camera. And I go live so often and sometimes unplanned. I have 4 of these beanies right underneath my monitor right here. So people are real. You want to create points of significance? Think about the everyday life things that you have to do and include them. I'm talking about content creation and my analogy today was wet towels. Real life situations and scenarios make you real to your audience and allow your audience to tap into their humanity when they're engaging in your content. They will have their own stories. They will provide to you other context like, oh, when you do it like this, and then I'll be there like, oh, snap, I've done that so many times. Like, that's crazy. We have this experience. Like, I didn't know anybody else was out here like me. And that's it. When people can find content where they see themselves and people can see them, they're not going anywhere. You create a cult-like following because, and I want to be clear on this, this is not a cheat code that you apply just because you want the effect. If you're not real with it, it will not benefit you. You gotta actually desire people's good. Gotta actually desire to serve people well. You gotta actually care about the people so that translates on camera and so that they can care about you. That is a non-negotiable, and I don't want it to be missed. I want people to be like, oh, I found the cheat code. I can just tell my story in this way and people are gonna come running. No, you actually have to care. Because you know what caring will cause you to do? Caring will cause you to go into the groups and share your value there with nothing in return. Caring will cause you to respond to the comment, even though it's like the 40th comment you've responded to today, and you still give them a detailed response and answer. And that is what causes people to engage. Causes people to care, causes people to be seen. And when I responded to a comment yesterday, the guy was like, I had no expectation that you were going to respond. Thank you. That was his response to my detailed response to his question. His response was, I had zero expectation that you were going to respond. Thank you. Because he recognizes there's zero value for me in responding to his comment, except that I care that he gets an answer to his question. So if you don't have that, that is a bedrock requirement and principle and practice that you must employ, that you must have. I don't want to say employ, in order for this storytelling practice to work. All right, I'm going to shut up now. I feel like I've gone way over my time. You guys have been, you've been really, really, really good. Let me catch this one. You guys have been really good. Let me see how many people we have on here. 18 more people on the live today. It's been an amazing time. One of the things I talked about is, of course, knowing, consider how long the story should be and what language to use. I think I'm right at my time. 18 people. We're starting to see the numbers dip a little bit. Listen, y'all, I want to say this as we get ready to roll. I'm going to go live again tomorrow. It's a special coaching corner session that I'm just going to go live and do, because I do want us to be able to start the year off right. I want us to be able to get our questions answered. So if you have more questions, you're checking out some of the content. Some of you are making transitions between different streaming platforms. Some of you are putting together your strategy for your podcast, or you're getting ready to launch your content on a YouTube channel. Go ahead and leave your comments in the underneath this video today. I think it'll be beneficial to everybody that sees your comment or your question, and even as I respond to it. But then feel free to come back tomorrow and check out what we got going on. Even if you don't come back tomorrow, be sure to come back on Friday for the live selling masterclass, the live solving masterclass. My good friend Billy Thorpe is the guest presenter. I'm here as your host. It's going to be right here on the channel. In fact, you can see the scheduled live stream for 10:30 on Friday, January 3rd, already on the channel waiting for you. But I want to encourage you to go over to kirkarnugent.com/masterclass. I want to encourage you to go over to that page, because on that page, you'll be able to see some of the other masterclasses that we've done in the past and some of the other resources that we have available for you there. So definitely want to make sure you guys get a chance to take advantage of that while you can. While you can. This is the page, by the way, kirkarnugent.com/masterclass. You can go there. You see that video is me talking about the masterclass right now. Masterclass is in 1 day, 21 hours, 2 minutes, and 54, 53, 52 seconds. Don't miss it. Masterclass public replay is only available for 24 hours, so definitely keep that in mind. And then, of course, there's some of the other Masterclass replays that we've done for the past 5 months. We started the Masterclass series first Fridays in August of 2024, and we did August, we did September, we did October, we did November, we did December. And I know that's 5 and you only see 4 there. We did a video editing essentials class that is not included here, but it is available for members on replay. In fact, all of these classes are available for members on replay after the 24 hours has expired. And you can home studio design, find and or confirm your topic, content planning, reflecting forward, and then now live selling. We're trying to make sure that this first Friday's masterclass series is something that is meaningful to everyone, something that is really scratching where you're itching. So if you have ideas, if you have topics that you'd love for us to be able to do or engage, comment below. Let us know. We'd love to be able to engage with you in those ways as well. And then finally, I just want to say a word of thanks to all of you for the milestones that we've been able to experience here on the channel. 500,000 views is ridiculous. But then in addition to that, we have also experienced 10,000 subscribers on the channel as well. I'm trying to change to that one, but it's not quite working. There we go. 10,000 subscribers on the channel as well. And that has really blown our minds. So to everyone that has shared, everyone that has commented, everyone that has liked, subscribed, everyone that has watched a video or 2 or 200, everyone that has binged, everyone that has joined us for a live show. Maybe you've asked a question. Maybe you've shared it with a friend. You've copied the link, posted it into a community, because several people have told me they've done that. This is a collective W that we are celebrating together. And I'm super excited for what 2025 will hold. Man, listen, one of the things I like to say is that your content, but specifically your live content, is your digital storefront. No better way to go from busy and broke to peaceful and paid than for your ideal customer, your ideal client, your ideal perfect person to see your superpowers on display during a live show or during online video. And I want to share with you tips, tricks, best practices, the keys to be able to harness that power in your content. That's what this channel is all about. My name is Kirk Nugent, and I also go by the Geek Speaker Preacher. Thankful, truly thankful for your time and attention today. We'll see you around these internet streets or in the next video. Grace and peace, fam.